Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the leading publication for all things football in the state of Texas, and the Mercari Texas Bowl are proud to announce the 2020 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year. The Mr. Texas Football annually recognizes the most outstanding high school football player in the state of Texas. The winner will be honored on the field at the Mercari Texas Bowl on Thursday, December 31st at NRG Stadium in Houston, where the TCU Horned Frogs will face the Arkansas Razorbacks. If you remember, last year's winner was Frisco Lone Star wide receiver Marvin Mims, now at Oklahoma, shown out there. Mm-hmm. Past winners have included Johnny Manziel, Jonathon Gray, Jacquizz Rogers, Spencer Sanders, a variety of different players. Kyler Murray is the only two-time winner of the award. Without further ado, the 2020 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year is...
Drumroll.
Hallettsville running back Jonathon Brooks. That's perfect that I let it slip.
You totally let it slip.
Because it's so funny. Hallettsville running back Jonathon Brooks, the 2020 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year winner. Brooks, a 6-foot, 185-pound running back, dazzled the Texas high school football world as a senior, running for 3,530 yards, the seventh most in state history, and 62 touchdowns. When you add in his receiving talents and his sensational play on defense and special teams, his season is even more astounding. 3,849 total yards and 70 total touchdowns, tying former Mr. Texas Football winner Jonathon Gray of Aledo for the single-season scoring mark. His production sparked Hallettsville to its best season ever as the Bramos drove to the 3A Division I state championship game, their first state title game appearance in their 107-year history. Brooks' incredible play in all three phases of the game make him a worthy recipient of the 2020 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year award. So there it is, the 2020 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year, Jonathon Brooks. And it's easy to get slipped up between Jonathon Brooks and Jonathon Gray because they now share history in Texas high school football. That's awesome.
When you were reading through the semifinal list, we had to re-record it because you said Jonathon Gray. Yeah,
I know.
It's too similar. They're both unbelievable athletes.
And I'll take you a little bit inside the process. We narrowed down the 10 finalists. And after about a week after that, we kind of came together and talked a little bit more within the Dave Campbell staff in our brain trust about who should be the winner. Mm-hmm. And we really narrowed it down to three guys. And at that point, it got real tough. And I'll be honest, we ended up being able to narrow it down to two. And, I mean, you got to try to slip a piece of paper between those two guys.
Oh, yeah.
But in the end, here's, to me, what put Jonathon Brooks over the top. Mm-hmm. What put Jonathon Brooks over the top is, A, what he did in the playoffs in those final three games to guide them to places that they had never been before in Hallettsville. B, his contributions on defense and special teams, I think, added into that.
Yes.
And C, the other thing that I would throw in there is the 70 total touchdowns that's a pretty hallowed mark. I mean, the next highest total is 61. Mm-hmm. I mean, to get to 70 and to tie Jonathon Gray is awfully impressive. And so there he is, the 2020 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year, Hallettsville running back Jonathon Brooks. I caught up with him yesterday. Here is my conversation with the 2020 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year, Hallettsville running back Jonathon Brooks, here on Texas Football Today. Dave Campbell's Texas Football and the Mercari Texas Bowl are proud to announce the 2020 Mr. Texas Football High School Player of the Year. It is Hallettsville running back Jonathon Brooks, and we are joined by Jonathon right now. First and foremost, Jonathon, congratulations on the award. What was your reaction whenever you found out that you had taken home the most prestigious award in high school football?
I didn't believe it because it's out of like all classifications, so I thought maybe a 6A person would win it, but it's an honor to win it. Just the Hallettsville community and the team that I had this year just allowed me to win this award.
I want to ask you a little bit about your season. You guys make history there in Hallettsville, making your first run to the state championship. I'm interested, was there a moment during the season where you thought, you know what, this team might really just have something special?
I think it was after the first gym net game when we lost. I think it lit a fire under everybody and just realized that, we're beatable. So we gotta go back to work and really work on the stuff that we messed up on. And after after that game, we didn't lose a single game. So I think
it was an incredible run for you guys, and obviously a lot of the people know you for your gaudy rushing numbers, 3,500 yards rushing and stuff like that. Is there one game in particular running the ball that you're always going to remember?
Most definitely my 9 touchdown game, because that's just something I've never done before. So just rushing for 509 touchdowns is always going to be remembered.
I also want to ask you, because you are a guy, I think one of the things that when we were talking about handing out the award, one of the things that we think put you over the top was your impact on the defense and on special teams. Is there a play on special teams or on defense that whenever you think back on your senior season, you're going to think, man, that was the play I'm always going to remember?
Probably definitely round 1 of playoffs. That punt return that I had, the second one, definitely just that play right there.
What did it mean to you? You're a guy from that part of the state and making history there at Hallettsville, bringing them to their first state championship. What does it mean for you to be able to do this with the community, for the community there in Hallettsville?
We've never made it to state. We call it the 4th round curse because we've never made it past the 4th round. So getting past the 4th round was great. Everybody was excited, but just getting to the state game was really exciting, but losing is not always fun. But, we made history. The town backed us, and they're still backing us. They're proud of us and everything. They tell us every day. And I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about that day, because it started with some Brookses and ended with some Brookses. Your cousins, Dalton and Doug, played in the 2A Division I game earlier that day. You finished it out playing in the 3A Division I game that night. How special was it for your family, for you guys to be able to all just be like, hey, why don't we just meet in Arlington? Yeah, it was great. All 3 of us have played on the same team at that stadium before when we were younger. So, it was kind of familiar, but once we all got into high school, we all had one goal, and that was to go to the state championship. And we both did it, just we came up a little short.
And of course, you're signed to go to play for the Texas Longhorns. I know that there are a bunch of Longhorn fans who are out there really excited about you showing up in Austin. I'm just curious, why Texas? Why was that? You had a bunch of different offers from a lot of different places. What was it about Texas that made the decision for you?
They offered me early. They showed trust in me. They showed interest a lot. They kept in contact a lot. They're close to home. The coaching staff is great. Coach Drayton is one of the best running back coaches in the country. The fan base is great. They keep in contact with me a lot, and just the other recruits, and we're going to build something special at the University of Texas.
He's Jonathon Brooks. He is the 2020 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year. Jonathon, congratulations again on a fantastic season and on winning the award, and best of luck in the future.
Thank you.
There he is, Jonathon Brooks, Hallettsville running back, the 2020 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year. Believe it or not, I thought this was amazing, and I guess I had not realized this. Mm-hmm. He is the first running back since 2012 with Dontre Wilson at DeSoto
to win this award,
Mr. Texas Football.
I thought that was interesting when we brought it up in the Slack chat.
Because we went on a heater at quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm. Rightfully so.
We had a lot of quarterbacks. Kyler won it twice, and then Jet Duffy won it for Mansfield, Lake Ridge, and then 2016 was Rashad Paul, 2017 was Spencer Sanders, 2018 was Landry Gilpin. Mm-hmm. 2019 last year was a receiver, his first receiver to ever win the award, and Marvin Mims. But yeah, because we had Jonathan Gray in 2011 and then Dontre Wilson in 2012. And then until now, we have not had a running back win Mr. Texas Football. But I think that when you take a look at the body of work and what he was able to do, Jonathon Brooks is certainly a worthy recipient of the 2020 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year award.
And just to clarify here, because people were asking about other classifications, this award encompasses all classifications. Yes. This is the leader in the clubhouse.
This is all public, private, all classifications, 11-man, 6-man, all the players. We had, I know on our semifinalist list, we had a couple of players from the 6-man ranks, and I think a couple of private school players as well. All Texas high school football players are eligible for this.
That's what makes it the most prestigious award in Texas high school football. It encompasses everybody. And
so Jonathon will be from what I understand, he will be at the Mercari Texas Bowl on Thursday night. And
Seemed
so
excited.
he'll be honored, I believe, during the first quarter of the TCU and Arkansas game. He asked me, this is funny.
This is good.
He did ask me. He was like, this is before we start recording. He's like, so like, he's trying to be. As you can tell, he's a really nice, really great kid. And he asked me. He wanted to be like kind of polite, but I think he wanted to know, which I understand. He was like, so is there like a trophy
I get out of
this
this
or something like this? And it's not this, by the way. This is Vince Young's old Player of the Year trophy. We have upgraded. If you have not seen the Mr. Texas Football trophy,
it's about as big as I am, to
it's
be
like
honest.
6 feet tall. It's huge. And so I pulled it up and I screen shared it with him, and he was like, "Whoa, what?" I'm like, yeah, man. It's big. It's a big, crazy trophy. So,
yeah.
Anyway, congratulations to Hallettsville running back Jonathon
Very
Brooks,
well
our
deserved.
2020 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year.